Good afternoon, Britannia, and hello to the rest of the world. Welcome to 2C TV and the latest update from British politics and the UK Parliament. Over the last few hours, there's been some tensions inside the Reform UK party between the actual leadership and those below. We have been speaking to Ben Habib just before this live stream, and of course, we're going to be giving guys all the update. Ben Habib will be speaking to 2C TV later on when he has more information. But this is actually about what's been going on with the new MPs of Reform UK. And in this video, we're going to give you guys all the details of what's happening in the village of Westminster. All right, so the good news for Reform is that they've managed to get a number of MPs. They got 5 MPs who've been elected, and we've got another one from Northern Ireland who's joining Reform UK. So that will be technically 6 MPs going forward. We've got obviously Richard Tice, who was the former leader of Reform, and they made him party chairman, obviously during this election campaign. And obviously Lee Anderson is now the chief whip in charge of the other naughty kids in the House of Commons. There have been a lot of conversations recently. Obviously, Ben Habib also stood for the election, but unfortunately, he didn't win his seat. And now that Reform UK is a parliamentary party, Nigel Farage has decided as leader to make some changes to the structure of Reform, and he's obviously been in touch with Ben Habib to ask him to resign as a deputy leader. But Ben Habib is not too happy about this situation. Now, there are a lot of people who argue that, well, now that Reform is a parliamentary party, we need to make sure that the leader and deputy leader are both in the House of Commons, just like other parties. But Ben Habib obviously has previously also clashed with the leadership, even Richard Tice, when it came to, for example, the rumours that initially started about Lee Anderson joining from the Tories. Ben Habib was not too happy about that. He was quite sceptical. He was saying some negative things about Lee Anderson at the time. But obviously Lee still joined Reform anyway. But in this situation, when it comes to the decision from Nigel Farage and the leadership to ask Ben Habib to resign, he is not too happy. Nigel Farage posted this saying, "I am pleased to announce some changes at Reform UK. Richard Tice will become deputy leader because he's also in the House. Zia Youssef, obviously he's now become quite famous and popular amongst some of the Reform UK supporters, will be the new chairman. Obviously Zia is also the massive millionaire donor who defected from the Tories to Reform, so they made him chairman. Lee Anderson will be chief whip." So I can imagine from the perspective of supporters of Ben Habib, they're thinking, well, fine, if he can't be deputy leader because he's not in Parliament, why couldn't they just make Ben Habib chairman? He's been around for some time, definitely longer than Zia Youssef. Is it because Zia Youssef has more money, for example, theoretically, or not? Zia himself said, "It is an honour to be appointed chairman of Reform UK. Against all odds, under Nigel Farage's leadership, our People's Movement won 4 million votes, 14% of the vote, elected 5 MPs with 98 second places. This is just the beginning. The important work of professionalising the party, building national infrastructure and continuing to grow membership has already begun. I will bring all my expertise, energy and passion to the role to ensure we achieve our mission of returning Great Britain to greatness." This is where he got some obviously complications started, because Zia, he was very good. He was a good speaker when he spoke in Birmingham at one of the final rallies of Reform. But supporters of Ben Habib are saying, well, why should he become chairman and why not Ben Habib? So Ben is not happy. He said, "I've just been informed by Nigel Farage that Richard Tice is taking over as deputy leader of the party. Consequently, I no longer hold that position." So obviously he's no longer deputy. "I am considering my position more generally in light of this change. I have long held concerns about the control of the party and the decision-making processes. I will reflect on all of this. The key for me is that Reform UK stays true to the promises made to the British people. The movement we have created does not belong to us, it belongs to the people. We are obliged and indebted to the British people. As I said, obviously, for some time now, Ben Habib has had issues with the leadership, whether it was Richard Tice at the time or now Nigel Farage. One example, as I said, was the defection of Lee Anderson from the Tories. Ben was a little bit skeptical about that at the time, but it's, he's saying that now he's considering his position inside Reform UK. So he's thinking about quitting the party altogether. As I said, I've just spoken to Ben Habib just before we went live, and he'll be getting back to us. He's basically just said he's doing a bit of reflection on everything and is considering his position in general, which again will make things slightly complicated for the other supporters of Reform UK. But there have been a lot of people replying to him saying, understand your feelings, Ben, but the deputy leader really needs to be an MP. Remember, this is a 5-year mission. Last Thursday was only the first step. This is where people don't really get how things are actually happening, because they are assuming that Ben's only problem, Ben Habib, is that he's lost the deputy leadership job. That's essentially Richard Tice is now deputy leader, and Ben Habib didn't even get the chairmanship because they gave him to Zia Yusuf. That's not really the only issue of the story. It's not really the only problem, because as Ben Habib himself has said, this problem goes back for months and months, for the last few years. There's been a lot of disagreements, a lot of clashes, and he has not been happy with the way the decision-making processes have been actually in place inside Reform at the top of the party, including Richard Tice at the time as leader, and now Nigel Farage. So there's a lot of people who would say, well, we'll rather pick Nigel Farage's side and Tice. Some people would say, no, their Reform needs Ben Habib. Some would say, well, Ben Habib came out of nowhere only in 2019. Would the Reform UK actually need him or not? There's a lot of, obviously, opinions in this. But the most important point is this issue, this clash, it's got nothing to do with just Ben Habib being asked to resign as deputy leader. That's not really the only issue. It goes deeper than that because of the last few years, and as he says himself, the way the leaderships have been making decisions at the top of the party. Let's see what people are saying. Jay says that don't start the infighting this early on Reform, or you won't stand a chance in the next general election. I love listening to Ben. So sad if he leaves. We need people like him to stay. It's good for the party, in my opinion. But the problem is that no one can control infightings from the outside. The supporters of Reform are obviously, as they're saying, don't start infightings, but you can't really help it. When the infighting starts, it's literally called infighting from within. Then it doesn't really, it cannot be controlled. Let's see what else we have. We have first super chat, Steve Fletcher, saying they and we don't need this. According to Steve Fletcher, thank you very much for that. Elizabeth says, I like Ben, but he didn't win his seat. They need to put resources where it's going to be most effective. Best luck to Ben. Would like to see him again at a later date. As I said, I've spoken to Ben Habib. He's going to get back to us and speak to 2CTV about what he's going to be doing in the future now in terms of his reflection and considering his position overall inside the party. Alison says, why do Reform have to work with fake diversity? Basically means whites lost in their own lost in their homeland. Prime Minister should be mandatory Christian to run a free Christian country. Should be a must. The problem is when you then add the word free before Christian, it goes against the mandatory Christian. But yeah, fair enough. Sweet Freedom says, love Ben Habib. This is silly. Understand it's a new party, but this is shabby. Sort it out, guys. No ego, please. All for the good of the party. A lot of people is giving the same sentiment. Does Ben expect Penny to be deputy leader of the Tories? Bottom line is that he didn't win his seat. A shame if he leaves on a sulk. Well, yeah, I mean, I do understand it from the perspective of the leadership now, because they would say we are a parliamentary party now and we have to make sure the leader and deputy leader are in the House. But people like Ben Habib would say, well, I've been working really hard to make this party what it is now, behind the scenes, and you didn't even offer me, for example, the chairman of the party as a role. They gave that to Zia Youssef. So I think that's also another reason that Ben Habib is not happy. But as I said, it's not really just about this the whole resignation as deputy leader or any of that. It goes beyond that. It goes about the fact that he's been clashing with Tice and Farage for some time now. But we'll see what they're going to do. Adrian says, I like Ben a lot, but could he stay calm and collected as Nigel does? This is a great sign of leadership, but I'm sure that Ben is a very good asset. Fair enough. Super chat from Mike saying, I have some doubts over this move. Could it be that Ben's concern about Tory infiltration become a Trojan horse within the party? Well, that's been one of his main issues. That's why he wasn't happy when the rumors started a year ago about Lee Anderson defecting from the Tories. Ben didn't like it. He didn't want Lee Anderson to join. But Lee Anderson's defections kind of worked. You know, just one person, technically one Tory, but Lee Anderson was also never a Tory tribalist. He was never part of the Tory tribe. So it's kind of like different compared to, I don't know, hypothetically, if David Cameron defects to Reform UK. Not that it's ever going to happen, but someone like David Cameron, who's always been a Tory tribal, you know, it would be a little bit skeptical, even if David Cameron was right wing, which is not. That would be a little bit, you have to be skeptical about that. But the Lee Anderson defection as one defection, that kind of worked well, despite Ben Habib's skepticism. But maybe he has a point about the wider infiltration of the party going forward. Manny says, why everyone falls out with Farage? Everyone knows he is the leader of the party. They know his main policies. So why fall out with him so much? Educate me. So that's a very good question. I've known Nigel for a long time, and of course also Ben Habib. And I've been in politics for the past, well, I was before about 15 years, before obviously I started media, and more than 15 years actually. Wow, time flies. But what I've noticed is when it comes to grassroots movements, when it comes to smaller parties, it starts as a small group of friends and allies, and everybody's equal. And sometimes those movements and those smaller parties stays the same. So they focus more on the cause and the ideas that they have, and they never become ambitious. They just stay the same. They just stay small movements or whatever. Fair enough. But when one of these movements or parties decide to become professional and become slightly more successful, just like how, and as many said, in the past, the same things happened with Nigel. When he was leading UKIP towards the end, UKIP came up. He did the same thing with the Brexit Party. Then he left it. Then obviously Reform UK. Nigel Farage will have to be, the strong, stable leader, which means you have to make sometimes unpopular decisions. Sometimes that means you will have to piss off your own friends and your allies, which means there are at times, and I'm not really accusing Ben Habib to be in that tent right now. I'm just saying in the past, to answer Manny's question, we've seen this happening so many times. Early days UKIP and a lot of other grassroots movements that I've been part of in the past. Everyone's friendly, everyone's friends, everyone's allies. They go to the pub, they have a drink, they come up with ideas, they fight together. But when one person becomes leader and then they try to actually take it to the next level, there's boundaries now. So Nigel Farage is friends with all the people below him, but he will also at times have a professional meeting and a serious meeting. And that sometimes blurs that line between the people who are like, but last night we were just having a drink in a pub. It was so nice and friendly. But then today, you're having a serious meeting. That's always been the culture clash between, of course, professional parties, corporations, big businesses as well, any big organization compared to smaller size movements on grassroots. You obviously, I always prefer smaller movements, smaller businesses, everything small. Size matters. Small is good. But if a party wants to play in the main battlefield with the other big parties, they have to become more professional. They have to make unpopular decisions. They have to have the structure, which means the party leader will have to sometimes put professionalism over friendship. So that's mostly the reason. Laurie says, I've noticed a lot of watching Ben Habib, and there was something just not right about him. He flipped back and forward. But Nigel is a strong character and people get jealous because they are in the background. I think, but that again, not accusing Ben Habib directly of that. But it's happened before where people who work with Nigel, they see themselves as in the background and they're not too happy about what's happening. This is a very good question. Why did Ben Habib go public with this, Maya? Why not keep it in the house? I think this is one thing that even over the last 15 minutes, I didn't actually address. That is a very good question. Because, of course, disagreements happen all the time. Clashes always happen. And we've been criticizing the Labour Party and the Conservatives for having their fight out in public. And it's very awkward. It's very cringy. It's embarrassing. This doesn't help. Doesn't matter if you're Team Ben or Team Nigel. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with Nigel Farage's decision to ask Ben Habib to resign as deputy leader. Fighting in public, it's a little bit, and especially considering Ben is now saying he's considering his overall position inside Reform UK as a party. Fair enough. He's going to decide what he's going to do, quitting the whole thing overall or not. Maybe we could have waited until he actually made that decision and then say it, right? Fighting in public, especially for a party that Reform UK that is already getting a lot of attacks from the media, from the political establishment, from cultural institutions, left, right and centre. You're just giving them more ammo to attack you. So that's a very good point. Nikolai says, Reform will be fine as long as they stick to what people want to vote for. Doesn't matter who's sitting in which chair. It's about the people. You say that though, I agree overall, long term, but if Nigel hadn't come back, if Richard Tice had remained leader, do you think they could have had a charismatic campaign like Nigel did? So sometimes it's important who is in which chair, who's the actual leader, who's this, who's that. Sometimes it does matter. Long term, yeah, this comment is still absolutely right. That overall, long term, it has to be about the policies, it has to be about the people. But early days, you have to rally the troops, you have to obviously hook people to your message, to your party. So it does kind of matter who's running the show, essentially. Maya, can you remove the fake? Which fake? Or get Lacey back to mod? Last night was a good chat without drop. Who's fake? Who's the fake? I need usernames. If I can't. Yeah, is it actually called the fake? Is the person spamming or whatever? We only ban people who spam. We don't ban people if they say something you guys don't agree with, because it's free speech platform. People would say things that you don't like. You could ban them yourself. You could block them on a personal level. You can do that. Is that Fate? I found an account called Fate, but I don't know fake. I haven't seen fake. Fake. I can't see. I don't know what's going on here. English, I think, make chat great again. He didn't win his seat. Who cares? So that's the thing. You need technically their deputy to also be in the house. I guess that's one of the main issues. Mike says, block the trolls. I need usernames. If we put their names, I could ban. Well, not trolls. We don't ban trolls. We just ban the the spamming trolls. Anybody who spams the live chat, yes, we shall do that. Otherwise, if you don't like someone's opinion, you can block them yourself. Okay, nobody's responded about who that fake is, but let's keep going for now. I think we have Mike again. There we go. Super chat from Mike saying, has everyone forgotten that Lee Anderson defected from Labour to the Tories? Can he really be trusted? So people who keep changing parties, they can't be reliable in terms of expecting them to stay in your party forever. But they can be trusted in terms of basic ideology and views, depending on who they are. There are individuals who keep defecting left, right, and center, and they've been in politics for a long time, and they've been tribalists for a long time. Lee Anderson doesn't really count because Lee Anderson came out of nowhere, and he was part of Labour, but not really a professional politician. And then he joined the Tories, and even as part of the Tories, he wasn't really tribal, and so he just left. I'm not advocating for people to keep changing parties. I don't like that, but there are exceptions, obviously. They've not sacked Ben Habib, just reshuffling. Ben shouldn't be broadcasting this. It's clearly not sorted fully. So it's not a reshuffle in a sense that they haven't given him a different job. So it's a sacking. He was asked to resign as deputy. That's the main point. So, and you know, they didn't even give him party chairman. That's the main problem. Peace Now says banning trolls makes you an echo chamber. Spot on. Yeah, that's why we don't do that. If you personally as a user don't like someone's comment, you could just block them yourself. But we don't ban trolls on this channel unless they spam, copy and paste the same message all the time. Obviously, that's a whole different thing. Otherwise, say whatever you want. And if someone gets triggered, that's their problem. They need a better therapist. Okay. Next comment, super chat. There we go. Nigel should give Ben a special role, as important as deputy leader, to try to keep him in the fold. Again, one option could have been party chairman, as I said, but they've given it to Zia Youssef, the party donor. Kim's from Australia says they need to consult Larry. He saw Rishi on his way. What's going on? And it won't take too long for Larry to get rid of Starmer as well. Larry is very wise. Will steer. Who's Larry? Is it Larry the cat? Are we talking about Larry the cat? Laurie, thank you for your super chats. Are you feeling better these days? 27th of July, a big day. Yes, we have. How long do we have? It's the 11th now. It's getting there. It's almost 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks to go? Less than 2 weeks. Actually, just over 2 weeks. Yeah, 16 days to go till the 27th of July rally. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, I will see most of you in central London on that day. Okay. How much did Zia Youssef donate? Actually, I don't know the answer to this question. I wonder if we can find out easily. How much did donate to Reform UK? Let's see if we have an answer, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what I'm using? I'm using ChatGPT. Oh, he only donated £200,000. I mean, it's big money, but it's not that big. £200,000, and now he's party chairman. So yes, Zia donated 200k. Howard says, can't keep together for 5 minutes, looking like the Tories all over again. FFS, keep a united front regardless. This is a problem, and I agree with Howard, this is a problem psychologically with the political right in general. And when I say the political right, I'm simply talking about psychologically more right-leaning people, humans, conservatives, nationalists, patriots, because by default, being more psychologically right-wing, you know, you're more ambitious, you're more competitive, and you have your own beliefs. Egos will clash, and this happens all the time. The Republican Party, the Conservatives in the UK, obviously now Reform. But as Howard says, you can still technically keep things quiet inside the party until things get bad. Ban SR. Who's SR? Is there an account called SR? Let me just find it. Unless are they actually spamming? I don't see any account called SR. Unless it stands for something else. And then we have an account called SH saying ban cocky poppy. Everyone's just asking for other people to ban other people. This is such a classic mob rule mentality. When you're not happy about someone, you ask someone else to like get rid of them. Send them to prison or kill them. You blocked them yourself. It also says ban Mikey B for spamming. Was it spamming? Let's see. What are you saying, Mickey or Mikey, whatever the name is? There we go. Saying reform is done. Has he copied and pasted that message? No. And his previous comments was money talks. No, he's not spamming it. He's just saying things that you disagree with. It's not. It's not the same as spamming. It's not the same as copy and pasting the same comments. Actually says that Poppy is the issue. What's Poppy doing, guys? What's happening? What's she doing now? Why can't you all just get along for one day? A lot of people say ban Poppy for being hostile. To be fair, there's been a lot of issues there. People, Mikey says nothing, man. I'm not banning you. Don't worry, Mikey. There's been a lot of issues there. People have been fights with Poppy. Why is Poppy keep telling people to ban other people? Stop saying this. Stop asking me to ban other people. The irony of this video, this whole live report about us criticizing a political party for having infightings when the political right can't get their acts together, and the live chat is completely kicking off over nothing. Oh dear. Nicole says calling people nonsense, well out of line. Who's calling people nonsense now? Oh my god. It will help if people put people's names in the comments when they complain about them. It will really help. Chaos in the chat. That's what makes it fun, isn't it? What we need to do. Okay, well, should we do an appeal? Everyone's saying ban Poppy. Can someone explain why, and then I'll do it. I do know that Poppy's been criticized a lot because in the chat she keeps talking about random different things, but like things that happen on a different platform instead of things that have nothing to do with the 2CTV. Ban the alts, man. We don't ban bot accounts or trolls. We don't do that here. If people want to say something, they can say whatever they want, and you don't like them, you block them. It's called free speech. Reform said, ban the chat, just ban all of them. If somebody obviously spams, copy and paste the same comment because it gets annoying, that's when we do it. But even bots, even chat bots and alt, they're all welcome. Just say whatever you want to say. Freedom, free speech. See, Kevin is on my side. The chat is entertaining. That's the fun. I'm just gonna stay here and see what's going on in the live chat. Oh yeah, I should have just done chat mode. But no, don't, obviously that's a good point. You can avoid some problems in terms of not having mods by setting a 10-15 second chat. Yeah, it's true, but that only helps when people are like copy and pasting the same thing. But no one seems to be copy and pasting. Someone did earlier at the beginning, which I dealt with that one. But no, we don't need moderators. I don't believe in regulations. I'm a classical liberal. Mike says Poppy's crazy. No one still actually explained what's actually happening. Why? Someone says ban me. We got masochists in the live chat as well. Oh, Justvid says, grow up, folks. It is only you that cares about what you've got to say in the live chat. Oh. Well, let's stick to the topic. Elizabeth says, Nigel has an eye to the future with Yusuf. I hope he's not a Trojan. Shame about Habib. He's been loyal. Better he waited and kept quiet until it all settles. Big disappointment for him, though. That's a fair enough comment, actually. Poppy says, these are alts trying to silence me. How can they silence you? Okay, Let me just explain one thing. Even if you got 1 million bots taking over a live chat and, I don't know, insulting me or Bun or Poppy, how can they silence? You can just reply. You just the reply. That's you can't unless they literally ban your accounts, then you've been or kick you out of the country. Then yes, you've been silenced. Otherwise, you can't be silenced. You can still leave comments. Also, everyone's saying Poppy is talking about different issues, nothing to do with the actual 2CTV. Something about alts on different Discord. So who uses Discord? Oh, it's 2018 all over again. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, clearly nobody gave me enough evidence of who's actually doing what. You've just been naming each other, saying ban this one, ban that one. Give me an actual reason. That would be good. Do it next time. Before we go live, when we do the schedule, when the live chat already starts, give me a statement of why this person or that person needs to be banned. And I shall consider. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.